What do you know about a heist at a black market storage facility in Kazakhstan? Happened a couple days ago.
Doesn't ring a bell.
You know, I may not know when a Skrull is pretending to be a human, but I sure as hell know when a human is lying. You know damn well what was in that storage vault.
The fact that you don't know tells me all I need to know about this new, rather old Nick Fury. I think Thanos' snap changed you. Taught you that no matter how hard you fight for what's right, there's always someone stronger to undermine you.
You seem to forget this old Nick Fury has 30 years of hands-on experience with the Skrulls. I know the nature of this threat way better than you ever will.
Is that your idea of an offer of some sort of collaboration between us?
We used to work pretty well together back in the day.
Back in the day, you would have seen my rather mediocre bagmen coming a mile away. The fact that you didn't see them coming means you haven't a hope in hell of seeing Gravik and his rebels coming, which makes you, as a partner, rather pointless.
Heroes. It's an old-fashioned notion. No matter who wins or loses, trouble still comes around.
Nick Fury is such a central character to this world. Like, his access to all of these different superheroes in the way that he's seemingly all-knowing.
I got my eye on you.
We always knew that Secret Invasion would first and foremost focus on Nick Fury. And we really wanted to learn more about him than we had ever learned before.
This is my war alone. One of the things we talk about is Nick Fury is not a super. His superpower is his persuasiveness and fearlessness. I know the nature of this threat way better than you ever will.
After the blip, Nick Fury really questions who he should trust. He's been on Saber, and they bring him down.
For years, you've been avoiding Earth?
Yeah, well, this is different.
He's a Nick Fury that we've never seen before, and so that immediately demands for a more grounded series.
There's a real espionage element to what's going on. Fury, we're gonna be very careful now.
Hopefully it'll feel like a different experience, something grittier.
An invasion is here, and we can't even tell who the invaders are.
We get to really dig into Fury and the stakes that he's having to encounter.
This is just the beginning.
I'm the last person standing between them and what they really want.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my new Secret Invasion trailer video that Marvel just released, talking a lot about Thanos, the Snap, the Avengers. Obviously, episode 1 is releasing tomorrow as I'm posting this video. I will be doing weekly episode videos, so be sure to subscribe to get those. The big thing with Secret Invasion is they're using it to set up what's happening in Marvel Phase 5 and Marvel Phase 6 heading into Avengers 5 as part of the more Earth-based plot. So there's like this large cosmic Kang-based plot, like the Kang multiverse world they're spinning up. That'll be more like Loki Season 2 and the other space-based stuff. Most of what they're setting up in Secret Invasion is like the Dark Reign, the villains taking over, this whole Thunderbolt Ross, this Val arc that they're setting up on the other side of what's happening with Nick Fury. You can sort of view Val as like the antithesis of Nick Fury, which is funny because in real life, Samuel L. Jackson said that Julia Louis-Dreyfus just said that they're actually going to fight, like their characters, Nick Fury and Val, are going to fight in upcoming Marvel movies. I think what she was referring to is Thunderbolt Ross becoming US president and Val getting more power. Like, she's already director of the CIA, so it's sort of like the antithesis to Nick Fury to begin with, just in general. But the idea that she and Thunderbolt Ross, or Thunderbolt Ross being the president, will allow her to do whatever she did before, like all the shady stuff that they would normally classify as black ops and do under the board, they can now do in the light of day. I'll talk about that in a second, because there's so much other stuff going on in this footage. There's a lot of Nick Fury and Olivia Colman's Sonya Falsworth character talking about Thanos and the Snap and what happened after the Snap, like what happened really after Avengers Endgame. And the whole idea here is that everyone in the intelligence community Nick Fury used to work with on a regular basis through S.H.I.E.L.D. now thinks Thanos basically broke him as a human, like, you're a lump of flesh, you're useless to us now. What happened to the old Nick Fury? And what they've said is that he's basically been on the Saber space station since right after Iron Man's funeral. Like, right after Avengers Endgame, he was real at the funeral, but then he left and Talos replaced him as sort of like the fill-in with his wife as the fake Maria Hill. Well, the real Maria Hill has been running around doing more stuff, kind of like what they did during the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, still doing S.H.I.E.L.D. type of work, like the stuff that she used to do with Nick Fury before the snap and Thanos, but now just doing it very quietly. So if it wasn't clear, Maria Hill has basically been doing what she did before the snap, after the snap. You just haven't seen as much of that. Like they had the funny moment with Talos' wife pretending to be her, but while that was happening, the real Maria Hill was still running around the world trying to deal with stuff like you see during this series. And as she complained to Nick Fury in that last clip that I posted, like the episode 1 clip, where she says that Nick Fury wasn't answering her phone calls, like, all these problems are happening, I've been calling you about it, but you haven't been picking up. I just did a video about the opening scene from episode 1, I'll link it at the end of this video, and during that, Everett Ross learns about the secret invasion, and he says he'll contact Nick Fury, but the Maria Hill clip makes it sound like it was Talos that finally got Nick Fury to actually come down from the Saber space station to planet Earth to deal with this. Like, okay, finally, you actually need to pay attention to what's going on. This is a big problem. An evil faction led by Gravik inside our good Skrulls is trying to take over the planet, take over all these world leaders. They did confirm that Dermot Mulroney is playing the current U.S. president when the series picks up. I don't know when he took office or when the next U.S. election is, but they say that it's 2025, like spring 2025 when the series takes place. That's meant to be relatively present day in the MCU, like Spider-Man No Way Home took place before this series. Pretty much the most recent Marvel movies, with a few exceptions, take place around this period. During the clip, the heist Nick Fury is tracking the Skrulls stealing tech for their special device they're building in this abandoned power plant. He mentions it happened in Kazakhstan. That could be where the abandoned power plant is where they're building this. It's a former Soviet Union territory, and it seems like a lot of the series takes place around the former Soviet Union territories. For example, this big attack in the square, this celebration, is taking place in Russia, around that same area. All the scenes with Sonya Falsworth and Nick Fury, though, are taking place in London. The MCU has visited London a couple times by now. Like, they're starting to get a little more international with the MCU movies. She's playing British Special Agent Sonya Falsworth. She says she's supposed to be kind of like the British version of Val, even though she and Nick Fury worked together and were cordial in the past. There's a couple new clips with Rhodey, and they say that by the events of this series, he's become special advisor to Dermot Mulroney's U.S. president. And it seems like he's kind of replaced Thunderbolt Ross in that respect. Like, Thunderbolt Ross was the Secretary of State, so normally he'd be the person that'd be advising the president on security matters, things like that. Thunderbolt Ross been recast with Harrison Ford, as you've probably seen. I've done a couple Captain America 4 videos. There's going to be a whole bunch of Thunderbolt Ross during that movie because of the Red Hulk plot and U.S. President Thunderbolt Ross plot. Because they're using Secret Invasion to sort of lay the track work for that, what might be going on is that the world learns about the Skrulls and this current U.S. President, Dermot Mulroney, fails to win re-election because people are so pissed off that another Thanos-level world takeover annihilation event almost happened. Like, again, are you kidding me? The world almost got taken over again. And what might be happening, just because we know where this is ending up, is that Thunderbolt Ross uses that fear to his advantage as part of his campaign, like Dark Reign Norman Osborn style, and rides the wave of popularity to win the U.S. presidency in the next election. Like, his whole campaign is based on increasing security and safety. Like, I will make sure that nobody ever takes over America again, because we're talking about the U.S. presidency. But he winds up doing that by turning America into something akin to a police state at the expense of personal freedoms. Like, the whole idea in Black Panther Wakanda Forever is that there was a lot of tension between world nations. Everybody wanted Wakanda's resources because they were so afraid of another takeover from someone like Thanos. We need all your vibranium because we need these crazy weapons because we might be taken over by some cosmic force. Galactus has entered the chat. No amount of vibranium is going to protect them from Galactus. In fact, Galactus would want every bit of that vibranium. But what they're doing during Marvel Phase 5 in the wake of Secret Invasion, like the results of the series, is that Val will start doing a lot of the shady stuff that she did with, say, like the Thunderbolts that she's creating, under the table Black Ops stuff that she couldn't have Captain America doing in the light of day. Like, we can't have Captain America doing all this shady stuff. And because they're trying to sell America on keeping it safe, they can do it and have people cheer for them, even though they're doing really morally questionable stuff. Part of this plot is supposed to set up what's happening in the Armor Wars movie. Reportedly, Val is going to be one of the main villains of that, along with Justin Hammer. And I think part of the idea is that Thunderbolt Ross is going to pardon Justin Hammer. Like, he's still been rotting in prison this whole time, but Thunderbolt Ross pardons him as long as he works for Val and helps her steal Iron Man technology so she can use that for damage control. Like, damage control will gain that technology, and they'll do some of the Armor Wars comic book plot, but Val and Thunderbolt Ross will be responsible for a lot of that happening. There's a couple new scenes of Everett Ross. It sounds like he's pretty big during the series too, but they also use him for a little bit of comedy. Like, it's not going to be all completely serious, although it looks like it's way more Winter Soldier vibes during the series, which I think people have been asking for, like a slightly darker Marvel series. But the big reminder is that Secret Invasion Episode 1 is starting tomorrow as of me posting this video. My episode will be up Wednesday. New episode videos posting every Wednesday. There's 6 episodes total. And then obviously we'll have a bunch of other stuff coming later this year too. Make sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Click here to watch that opening scene from Secret Invasion Episode 1. And click here for my brand new Marvel Kraven the Hunter trailer video with Quicksilver. I know people will be asking all kinds of questions about this when it comes out. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.